The first snowflake hit my windshield as I pulled into my driveway. My hands were shaking. Not from the cold. From rage. 3 months of work. 3 months of canning vegetables, storing grain, preparing for winter, gone. All of it sitting in a dumpster behind the community center because Patricia Morrison decided my garage violated aesthetic standards. I sat there staring at my house. The garage door was still open from this morning when they came. The HOA board. 5 people in matching polo shirts with clipboards like they were some kind of task force. Patricia led them straight to my shelves. She didn't even knock. "This is a fire hazard," she'd said, her perfectly painted nails tapping against my mason jars. "And it attracts rodents." I tried explaining. Told her it was sealed food. Told her I'd spent my savings on it. Told her my daughter needed special meals because of her allergies and the nearest store was 40 minutes away when snow hit. She just smiled. That cold smile that said she didn't care about anything except her little kingdom of rules. HOA Covenant Section 12, Paragraph 4. No storage of excessive supplies visible from common areas. Your garage door was open yesterday. Someone reported it. It's gone by sunset or you're fined $500 daily. They took it while I was at work. Didn't even let me sort through it. Just dumped everything. Jars I'd labeled with my daughter's name. Flour I'd bought in bulk. The winter squash from my own garden that I'd spent weekends preserving. Now the snow was starting to stick. Channel 7 said this storm would last 5 days. Maybe a week. I thought about Emma inside doing homework. She didn't know yet. Didn't know that her safe foods were sitting in a landfill somewhere because Patricia Morrison thought my preparation was unsightly. My phone buzzed. A text from the HOA group chat. Reminder, snow protocol in effect. Please conserve water if possible. Weather Service predicts heavy accumulation. I stared at that message. Read it 3 times. Then I looked up at the hill behind my house. At the metal box barely visible through the trees. The junction box I'd noticed on my survey when I bought this property 5 years ago. Something clicked in my head. Something I'd forgotten. Something that changed everything. I got out of my truck and walked to my mailbox. Pulled out the folder I kept in the weatherproof box underneath. Found the property survey. The original one from 1987. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Because right there on page 7 was a detail Patricia Morrison didn't know about. A detail nobody on that HOA board knew about. The main water line for the entire development ran directly through my property. I didn't tell Emma about the food that night. Just made her scrambled eggs and toast with the last of the bread. She talked about school while I stared at that survey document on the kitchen table. The property line was clear. The easement agreement was even clearer. Signed in 1987 by the original developer. The water main crossed my land before splitting off to feed every house in Ridgeview Estates. All 63 homes. Including Patricia Morrison's. The snow kept falling. By morning there was 8 inches and the plows hadn't come yet. My phone lit up with HOA messages. Patricia was in her element now. Sending updates every hour. Reminding people to clear their walkways within 24 hours or face fines. Reminding them the snow must be piled in designated areas only. She loved this. Loved having more rules to enforce. I was pulling on my boots when I heard the knock. Hard. Aggressive. The kind of knock that said someone was used to getting their way. Patricia stood on my porch in a pristine white coat. Not a single snowflake on her shoulders. Like the weather bent around her too. Your walkway isn't cleared, she said. No greeting. No pretense of neighborliness. That's a violation. Also your trash bins are visible from the street. That's another violation. I just looked at her. It's 7 in the morning. The rules don't have business hours. She held up her phone. I'm documenting this. You're already on thin ice after yesterday's incident. You mean when you threw away $3,000 of my property? Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I enforced community standards. Your stockpiling was excessive and frankly, suspicious. What kind of person hoards food like that? The kind who reads weather reports. Well. She glanced at the sky. We all have to deal with the snow. Maybe you should have thought about that before breaking HOA rules. She turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and the board met last night. We're raising your monthly dues by $200. Retroactive to last month. Call it a community enhancement fee. My jaw tightened. You can't just. Read your contract. Section 9. The board has full authority to adjust fees for community improvement. Consider it motivation to follow the rules. She started down my steps, then paused again. And clear this walkway by noon or that's another $500. I watched her walk to her Mercedes. Watched her drive away, her heated seats probably already warming her up. Then I went back inside and pulled out my laptop. The easement agreement was from before the HOA existed. Before Patricia and her board. Before any of their rules. It gave the developer rights to run utilities through my property. But it also gave me something. Something buried in paragraph 12 that made my heart beat faster. Property owner retains right to access and maintenance of all utility infrastructure crossing said property, including but not limited to temporary service interruption for necessary repairs. I sat back in my chair. Looked out at the snow still falling. Thought about my daughter's food in a dumpster. Thought about Patricia's smile. Then I picked up my phone and called someone I hadn't talked to in years. Hey Marcus. Yeah, it's been a while. Listen, you still do private contracting work? I need a valve installed. 9:36 a.m. Marcus showed up Tuesday afternoon in an unmarked white van. He didn't ask questions. Just looked at the survey, looked at the junction box on the hill, and nodded. We'd served together in Afghanistan. He knew when to talk and when to just work. The snow was 12 inches now. 17 more expected by weekend's end. The whole development was trapped. Roads barely passable. But people still found time to complain in the HOA chat. Patricia sent 42 messages on Monday alone. Someone's Christmas lights were the wrong shade of white. Someone else had their garbage can lid facing the wrong direction. This valve here, Marcus said, pointing to the junction box. You turn it, you control flow to the whole neighborhood. Legal? It's your property. Easement says they can use it. Doesn't say you can't maintain it. He wiped snow off his face. What did they do to you? I told him about the food. About Emma. About Patricia's smile when she said my daughter's special diet supplies were unsightly. Marcus didn't say anything. Just installed the valve. Showed me how it worked. A simple turn. Clockwise to reduce pressure. Further to stop flow completely. Then he packed his tools and left before anyone saw his van. I didn't touch it. Not yet. Just knowing it was there felt like power I'd forgotten I had. Wednesday the storm got worse. Wind knocked out power on the east side. 3 houses lost heat. Patricia sent an emergency message about generator noise violations. Said anyone running generators after 9 p.m. would be fined. People were cold and she was worried about noise ordinances. That's when Mrs. Chen from 2 streets over called me. Her voice was shaking. They towed my son's car, she said. He came home from college because of the storm. Parked in my driveway. Patricia said it violated the 1 car per household rule. They towed it in a blizzard. He has medication in that car. I closed my eyes. Where is it now? Impound lot. 40 miles away. Roads are closed. They want $600 to release it. She was crying now. She knew. Patricia knew about his medication. I told her at the last meeting. She smiled and said rules are rules. I looked out my window at the hill. At the junction box barely visible through the white. Mrs. Chen, I said quietly. What medication? Insulin. He's diabetic. He has maybe 2 days of supply left. I hung up and walked to my kitchen. Opened the cabinet where I'd hidden 1 case of Emma's special formula. The only thing I'd saved from my stockpile. I'd lied to Patricia's goons, said the garage was empty when they came back to check. Hidden this case in the walls. My daughter needed it. But Mrs. Chen's son would die without his medication. I grabbed my coat. An hour later I was back home, frozen and exhausted. I'd driven 40 miles in a blizzard. Got the car released. Got the insulin. Mrs. Chen had cried and hugged me. Her son was safe. My phone buzzed. The HOA chat. Patricia, reminder, all driveways must be cleared to HOA standards by tomorrow noon. Also, we've identified several homes with excessive icicle formation. This is a liability issue. Remove them or face fines. Stay safe everyone. I stared at that message. Then I put on my boots and walked up the hill through 2 feet of snow. The valve was right where Marcus left it. Cold metal under my glove. I turned it. Just slightly. Just enough. By morning, Patricia Morrison was going to learn what excessive really meant.